Is radio advertising worth it? Well, depending on what you want to do with it, my resounding answer is yes, absolutely. And I think by worth it, you mean is there going to be enough ROI in it? We can go over that as well. We're going to cover a whole bunch of stuff from audience all the way to some of the key elements of radio that you can leverage big time. So let's get started. So by the end of this video, I hope you're going to have a little bit better grasp of some of the things that goes into radio advertising and how to compare it to your marketing and the audiences and just exactly what you're getting in return. So let's dive in. First of all, of course, my biased answer is going to be, of course it's worth it. I've been playing in the radio sandbox for over 25 years, probably closer to 30 years now, and I absolutely love it. It is a lot of fun, and we have seen and experienced a lot of success with a bunch of clients. One in particular opened their doors. It was a Mexican restaurant. They opened their doors and within 6 months to a year had sold 6 franchises, all based on the and he'll tell you it was all based on the concept that we had come up with for his Mexican restaurants. So radio advertising is very, very much worth it. The big thing is, what kind of an ROI can you expect? Well, time and time again, over and over again, the Radio Advertising Bureau, or RAB, the big advocacy group for radio, they run this survey again and again and again. They're constantly updating their numbers. And what they find out is for the businesses that do radio advertising correctly, that work it to their advantage, they're seeing a 6-to-1 ROI. For every dollar that they spend on radio advertising, they're seeing $6 or more in sales in return to their companies. That's a pretty hefty ROI, not bad at all. So it's something worth considering. Is it worth it to reach almost the entire population in your area? Again, RAB does their survey, they update their numbers. When I first started in radio, I want to say in a given week of everybody in the broadcast radius that is 12 years old or older, you would reach 98 to 98.5% of all of the people in the broadcast radius. I want to say now that number is down to like 97.5 or 98%. It has taken a slight hit over the years, but radio can reach 95% of people in the broadcast radius. That's pretty astounding. And when it comes to top of mind awareness, I don't know if you've probably heard that term, TOMA, T-O-M-A, top of mind awareness. Chances are the lion's share of the sales go to the product or service. That's the first one you think of. Radio is very effective at making your business the top of mind awareness. Whether it's a restaurant or a gift shop or something along those lines, whatever that may be, radio helps build TOMA very easily. Like I was saying, the more popular the product, chances are they'll get the lion's share of the sales. The big story I like to tell was years and years and years ago, there was only one mouthwash out there, and that was Listerine. And I don't know if you remember the original Listerine. It was nasty. I mean, it was basically alcohol with yellow food coloring, and that was it. It tasted horrible. Well, along comes this young whippersnapper called Scope. And what was Scope's slogan? Tastes minty, not medicine-y. They fired a shot directly across the Listerine bow. Well, Listerine was number one on the market because they were the only one in the market. So they dominated. Scope comes along and says, taste minty, not medicine-y, and they really started gaining market share. Listerine did the smartest thing that they could do. It's a principle in advertising called admit the negative. And what they said was, they came back with another shot, not even across the bow. They just hit Scope and sank it. They came up with Listerine, the taste you hate, twice a day. Boom! Admit it, they know it tastes terrible. And they happen to hang on to their market share, and Scope is still a very distant second to this day. Now, times have changed, things have grown, and now you've got all kinds of flavors for Listerine. But in the very beginning, when Scope came along and there was an actual battle out there, top of mind awareness won out over the challenger, and Listerine still holds quite the market share between them and Scope. So to this day, top of mind awareness is very, very, very important, and radio is a great way to build that. And another form of radio advertising, and not many people think of it as radio advertising, but it really is the same thing. It's audio advertising and 30 or 60 second commercials, and that would be for podcasts. Now, if you find the right podcast to be a sponsor of, what I absolutely love about that is you get TV audiences. I mean, sometimes you'll get millions of people, but at radio prices. It really is a phenomenal deal, podcast advertising. And if you need to know more about that, just let me know. I got some folks in the biz that can help you out specifically with podcast advertising. But it's a great way, audio is a great way to dominate the marketing, and especially for the ROI and the price you're going to be investing. You just can't touch it with other mediums. This is the type of stuff we like to cover here to hopefully get you up and running, to make more sense what can either be very confusing or senseless. Some of it seems pretty crazy at a radio station. I think some of it is too. But we'll help you get through the interesting idiosyncrasies of radio advertising. So be sure to be sure to subscribe, and you won't miss a thing, and we'll help you through it, no problem. Now, some of the best elements of radio. Is it worth it? Absolutely. The immediacy and the urgency of radio. The phrase used to go, read it tomorrow in the newspaper, see it tonight on TV, or hear about it right now on the radio. And even today, it's much easier for radio to break into programming to cover, say, a national event or a local event, some type of a disaster or emergency. It's much easier to break in on radio than it is on TV. They even have to, there are times when they have to call the host in or something like that. I mean, when you're into your daytime programming and you need one of your news anchors to all of a sudden appear, maybe they got to come back to the station. Maybe they're just down the hall. They still have to set it up. They got to break in at the right time. Radio, it's very easy. First of all, you've got a natural break every 3 to 5 minutes, and that's the song. But second of all, you've got your host right there to be able to deliver that information immediately when it becomes available. There's a lot of stuff to be said for radio and its immediacy. One of the other big pluses to radio is they're very easy to correct or change. Hopefully you have no problems with your ads by the time they get to production. I've seen typos in magazines. I've seen bad information on a coupon. I've seen wrong prices in all kinds of newspapers and print and all kinds of stuff like that. When does it get corrected? Maybe tomorrow, maybe for next week, maybe for next month's edition. And if you're not going to run next month, they're at least going to put a little paragraph in very tiny print near the front of the magazine that says, oh, sorry, we made a mistake. Here's the real information. Sorry for the inconvenience. That's a month later. TV, even if there's a mistake in a TV ad, it takes a little bit more than just, heaven forbid you should have to call the actors in to redo something that's in the script. Hopefully it's just like a graphic or something like that that can be swapped out. That still doesn't happen immediately. But for radio, there's a chance if you need something changed, there's a slim chance that it might get corrected before the next time it plays. We don't like to operate that way. It's certainly not beneficial to you. It's certainly as an advertiser, and it's not beneficial to the listeners. But if we have to, and the stars align, we can probably get it fixed that quickly. One of the best things about radio is its emotional connection and its storytelling. You can tell an amazing story with radio. You can do it with TV, but from what I've seen, when somebody tries to get into a TV story, they really overdo it. It's very easy to lose your viewers in a TV story. Think Paul Harvey and even his ads. Do you remember his ads for Boys Town? I don't know if you remember that, but he and his wife supported Boys Town, Father Flanagan's Boys Town. It's phenomenal, the connection that you can make telling a story and using visuals in radio. And to that end, there's a really great way to do it. We like to call the visuals in radio, we like to call it theater of the mind. Being able to tell the story in such a way that the listener not only is listening, but they're picturing it as it's going on. Some of the best storytellers I've ever heard were, of course, Paul Harvey and the rest of the story, or like I said, even in his ads. The Firesign Theater has been absolutely phenomenal. And of course, Garrison Keillor, those may be some names that you're familiar with. Their storytelling has just been phenomenal, and they lead you in such a way that you start to come up with your own images, and sometimes it's wrong. They specifically led you that way because they have a punchline coming, and they're going to do stuff like that. It's a fun way and a fun place to play. And radio theater of the mind, remember, for TV or for print, you've only got this much. How big is the screen on your TV? How big is the page on the magazine? That's how much room you have. But for radio, it's unlimited. I can talk about 1,000 dancing camels and boom, I've done it. I can talk about if there's a local car dealership that's having a sale and these trucks are amazing. Your favorite color might be blue, my favorite color might be red. You're picturing a blue truck, I'm picturing a red truck. I'm gonna go get one, you're gonna go get one. We've got the one that we want already picked out in our mind. That's theater of the mind, and that's a very, very powerful element that nobody else shares, quite frankly. To get you started in the right direction, you're gonna wanna write these type of stories. You're gonna wanna write these types of radio commercials. There's a link in the description down below for the radio advertising checklist. It's not even a checklist, it's more like a primer. I mean, there's a lot to it that walks you through this creative process and then helps you turn it into a very, very effective ad. Get your copy right now just by clicking that link down below. You're gonna absolutely love it and have some amazing results in the future. I'm Nic Natarella with AdWise Creative. Thank you for watching.